Hey everyone, welcome back to channel. Before we start, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share it with your friends. You won't want to miss this incredible story. Today we're diving into the amazing journey of a poor mechanic who restored his neighbor's old Chevelle, never knowing she was hiding a life-changing secret. Trust me, this story will shock you, inspire you, and warm your heart. So sit back, relax, and let's get started with a story you'll never forget. Leo's garage smelled of oil, metal, and old rubber, a scent that felt like home. Every day he woke before sunrise, unlocked the creaking door, and began repairing cars that others had long abandoned. Money was always tight, barely enough for food or bills, yet Leo poured himself into his craft with pride. Across the narrow alley stood the small, weathered house of Mrs. Evelyn Carter, a quiet widow whose presence was gentle yet noticeable. She rarely spoke, but her warm smile always greeted him, making the long hours in the grease-scented garage a little lighter. The Chevelle had sat under a torn tarp for years, abandoned and forgotten. Its red paint had dulled, chrome accents rusted, and the tires were cracked and flat. Once a symbol of pride and freedom, it now seemed like a ghost of its former glory. Leo often found himself staring at it during quiet moments, wondering about the story behind the car and its owner. Mrs. Carter clearly cared for it deeply, yet she never asked for repairs. The neighborhood whispered, but Leo saw only a challenge, and perhaps a chance to bring something meaningful back to life. One chilly evening, Mrs. Carter timidly knocked on Leo's garage door. "Could you take a look at the Chevelle?" she asked softly, her voice hesitant but sincere. Leo wiped grease from his hands and nodded without a second thought. He had helped people who couldn't pay before, and he didn't see why this would be different. As he inspected the vehicle, he noticed the engine was nearly destroyed, the body riddled with rust and essential parts missing. It would cost far more than she could ever afford, but Leo didn't hesitate. He saw potential where others only saw decay. Days turned into nights, and Leo labored tirelessly on the Chevelle. His hands were black with grease, arms sore, yet he refused to give up. He searched junkyards for rare parts, negotiated prices with local suppliers, and improvised solutions when necessary. Mrs. Carter often left him home-cooked, meals at the garage door, simple gestures of gratitude that warmed his heart. Occasionally they talked about the car and its history, sharing stories of past adventures, yet she never spoke of her personal life. Leo didn't ask. He simply worked, driven by dedication and quiet compassion. Neighbors began to notice the transformation. What once was a rusted, lifeless car slowly turned into a gleaming masterpiece. The deep red paint shone like sunlight. Chrome accents reflected the sky, and the engine purred with a newfound life. More than just a mechanical project, it became a story of devotion, trust, and kindness. Leo wondered why Mrs. Carter trusted him so completely, offering no payment and sharing no personal details. Yet he felt honored to restore the car, as if he were reviving a piece of her past and her memories. Finally, the day came when the Chevelle was ready. Leo carefully drove it across the alley and handed her the keys. Mrs. Carter's hands shook, tears brimming in her eyes. She whispered a heartfelt thank you and hugged him, her gratitude beyond words. In that moment, Leo realized he had done more than restore a car. He had restored hope, pride, and cherished memories. The Chevelle was alive again, and in doing so, he had unknowingly changed the life of the woman who had quietly trusted him all along. A few days passed after the Chevelle's restoration, and life seemed almost normal again for Leo, yet he couldn't shake the feeling that something was different. Mrs. Carter still visited occasionally, leaving small meals or notes of gratitude, but never more than a word or two about herself. He had grown used to her quiet presence and the subtle warmth she brought into his otherwise exhausting days. He sometimes wondered if he would ever know the full story behind the woman who had trusted him so completely without question or compensation. Then one morning, black luxury cars pulled up outside his garage, causing a stir in the small neighborhood. Men in suits stepped out, scanning the surroundings with professional curiosity. Leo paused in confusion, wiping grease from his hands as Mrs. Carter herself emerged from the house. She was transformed, no longer dressed in worn sweaters, but in elegant attire that radiated confidence and poise. She walked toward him with a smile that was both proud and apologetic. Sensing his bewilderment, the air seemed to hum with anticipation as she spoke. "I have something important to tell you," she began, her voice steady but filled with emotion. Leo listened carefully, still unsure what to expect. "I am not just a widow who loved her old car. I am a millionaire. I sold my company years ago and chose to live quietly, away from the world's demands. I've been watching you. Leo, I saw the way you worked tirelessly on my Chevelle without asking for money, without complaint, without expecting anything in return. Her eyes glistened with unspoken gratitude. Leo was stunned. He had known Mrs. Carter as a kind, gentle woman, but never imagined she possessed such wealth or influence. His mind raced, struggling to reconcile. The quiet neighbor he had known with the powerful figure, standing before him. You watched me?" he stammered, feeling a mixture of embarrassment and awe. She nodded gently. "I wanted to see if the kindness I trusted in people still existed. And you proved that it does. Your heart is rare, Leo, and that deserves more than just thanks." With that, she had paid off his debts. Inside were documents that would secure not only his garage but also his future. She handed him an envelope, upgraded his tools, and even set him up as a partner in a foundation dedicated to restoring classic cars for those who couldn't afford repairs. Leo felt a rush of emotions: gratitude, disbelief, and a deep, quiet joy. Years of hard work and integrity had led him to this moment, and it was more than he had ever dreamed. Leo's life changed overnight, yet he remained the same humble mechanic at heart. The garage buzzed with activity like never before, now a thriving hub of restoration, creativity, and hope. He continued to help people who couldn't pay, but now he had the resources to make a real difference. Mrs. Carter remained close, a friend and partner in the foundation, yet their bond went beyond money or status. It was built on trust, kindness, and the quiet understanding that doing good, even without recognition, always finds its reward. Looking back on the long hours spent under the harsh lights of his garage, Leo realized the Chevelle had been more than just a car. It had been a bridge connecting two lives, one ordinary and one extraordinary. Through patience, care, and empathy, the lessons he learned would guide him forever. That true generosity asks for nothing in return, that kindness can unlock unexpected doors, and that sometimes the simplest acts of humanity can change lives in ways no one could imagine.